This 2020 economic crisis isn't done yet, but if you don't come out of this crisis a little bit smarter so you can take care of your money better, you wasted this crisis. What's up everybody, I am Jaspreet Singh and welcome to the Minority Mindset. This 2020 economic crisis, while far from over, has taught us a lot. Like I learned that you should always keep an extra roll of toilet paper in your cardigan. From wealth creation to corruption to manipulation, we saw it all in 2020. Well, every crisis comes with opportunity, which is why you never want to waste a crisis, and at the very least, you want to come out of this crisis at least a little bit smarter. That way you can protect your money from anything. That's why in this video, I want to go over 10 important lessons that we learned during this economic crisis. So make sure you watch this video until the end because you don't want to miss any of these lessons. And the first lesson we learned is that you need to hit that thumbs up button, because if you don't, then YouTube doesn't share our video with anybody else. Subscribe to the Minority Mindset YouTube channel. That way you don't miss our new financial education videos every single week. And hit that little notification bell too, because if you don't, then YouTube doesn't let you know when our new videos are released. I'm just kidding. We learned that lesson in 2019, but I still appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button. The first lesson that became painfully clear is that these dollars that you call money are fake. In 2019, it took 157 million American adults a whole year to produce and generate $21 trillion worth of money through their hard work. In 2020, it took a handful of people at the Federal Reserve Bank and the government almost no effort and no time to produce almost the same amount of money. That way they could bail out big banks, that way they could bail out big businesses, that way they could send stimulus checks out, and that way they could keep paying their politicians. It's like that money just came out of thin air. Our dollars aren't backed by gold or silver or anything tangible. They're backed by a promise from the United States government that these dollars have value, and behind this promise is faith in the United States dollar. Ben, I got a lot of faith in you. Don't screw this up. We're fortunate that there's still a lot of faith behind the dollar even after all this money printing. But what this crisis showed us is that there's no guarantee that the same amount of faith will always be there in the future, and that's very bad news for people who don't understand money. It costs 12 cents to print a $100 bill. So you could spend your whole life working for dollars, earning dollars, saving dollars, thinking you're doing the smart thing. But then a few people in power can dilute the value of all your earnings with just a few clicks of a button by printing a whole lot of dollars. Remember, supply and demand. When you have a huge supply of something, in this case our dollars, then the value of that thing, our dollars, comes down, which makes the price of everything around you go up. So that's why your rent, your groceries, and that trip to Disney World keeps becoming more and more expensive. The reason the rich get richer and the middle class gets wiped out and the poor gets even poorer is because the rich understand this and they convert this funny money, these paper dollars, into something with real value, assets, things that grow in price. At the same time, the poor and the middle class work hard to earn and save dollars thinking they're doing the right thing. But then every time more dollars are printed, they're slowly becoming poorer and poorer without even seeing it happen, because each dollar they work to earn and save has less and less buying power. Second, this is gonna sound counterintuitive, but you need to have savings. Now, I know what you're thinking. When is this random guy on YouTube gonna make his Gucci joke? That's coming later. What I thought you were gonna say was, Jaspreet, you just said that our dollars lose value, so why should we be saving it? Well, unlike what your 10th grade math teacher told you, your savings are not there to make you wealthy. Your savings are there kind of like a financial shield to protect you. If businesses and people had a savings cushion, then this economic crisis would be 100 times smaller. Your savings are not there to make you wealthy. Your savings are there to protect you from going into debt when an emergency happens. Third, greed can be a blank. I'll let you figure out what that blank is. In 2001, after the horrible 9/11 attacks, the airline industry tanked because nobody wanted to fly, and the taxpayers had to come and bail out the airline industry. We were told that this was an unpredictable event, so we had no other options, but businesses learned their lesson and they'll be more prepared for crises by building savings and having their reserves ready to protect them from emergencies. In 2008, we learned this was a a lie during the Great Recession. During this time, banks got a little bit greedy because they were making all these risky loans to people so they could buy homes they couldn't afford, and then banks took these homes and they started gambling on them by turning them into these different investment packages and selling them to all these wealthy institutions and banks. And then when this house of cards collapsed, banks needed help. That's when the government came out with the biggest taxpayer-paid bailout in history to bail out the banks after all of their risky investments. The good news is taxpayers were reassured that big banks and big businesses learned their lesson, and we wouldn't have to worry about bailing them out again because they wouldn't be doing these type of risky things. And then 2020 came, and that's when we realized that you were played again. And this time, we made those huge 2008 bailouts look like peanuts. Airlines, same thing as before. They spent all their money on stock buybacks, making their owners rich, and then they had no savings left to protect them. That's when they needed taxpayers to come and bail them out. Banks, same thing. They started making their risky loans again, and then they started gambling on their loans. The only difference is this time, they didn't do it in the residential real estate market as much as they did before. They did it in the commercial real estate market and the corporate loan market. So trillions of dollars had to go to buy up these crappy investments from the banks to bail them out. Each time the bailouts got bigger and taxpayers were reassured that this was just a once-in-a-lifetime thing and it wouldn't have to happen again. But history keeps finding a way to repeat itself. Fourth, we learned that you should hope for the best, but always prepare for the worst. Your job as a smart financial planner is to make sure that you and your family will be financially okay no matter what happens, because you can't predict if the world is gonna lock down. That's why you build a savings cushion. That's why you work hard to invest your money. And that's why you have car insurance, just in case. Well, just like how you have car insurance to protect your family from a car crash, which is unlikely but possible, you need to have life insurance to protect your family from a tragedy, which is unlikely but possible. Look, your goal is to be financially free. What that means is you have enough income coming in from your assets, your real estate, your stocks, whatever, to cover your expenses. When your investments pay you enough money to cover your expenses and survive, you are financially free, you are wealthy, and you don't need life insurance. But until that point, you need to have some sort of risk protection in place in case of a tragedy and you die, that way your family doesn't suffer financially. I hope that never happens, but I have also seen way too many GoFundMe funerals where something tragic happens and the breadwinner of a family dies, and now the family has to go and ask their friends and family for money, that way they could cover funeral expenses and have money to survive. It is absolutely heartbreaking, which is why you need to be a smart financial planner. This is where life insurance comes in handy as that bridge or as that risk protection as you're building your wealth. Once you build that wealth, you don't need life insurance. But until that time, life insurance can serve as that bridge and that risk protection. And it can be a lot cheaper than you think. Like, if you're a healthy 30-year-old guy, you can buy a $1 million life insurance policy for less than $1 a day. That's less than $30 a month. Hopefully your family doesn't need it, but it's there just in case. The key is you want to make sure you don't overpay for your life insurance policy. And thanks to our sponsor, Policy Genius, it's very easy, and I got their link in the description below. Policy Genius is a completely free service to you where you just have to go to their website and enter in a few pieces of information, which just takes a few minutes, and then they go out and they find you quotes from different insurers, so that way you can make sure you're getting the best price on your life insurance. I really like Policy Genius because they stand by what they do. Not only do they have a ton of free information on their website, but if you find a lower life insurance quote somewhere else, they will pay you $100. If you have questions, they have a ton of resources on their website, and they have free experts that you can talk to who are not incentivized to upsell you anything. So if you want to learn more and get a free life insurance quote, I got the link to where you can do that in the description below. Minority Mindset is a partner with Policy Genius, so if you use them, we will get compensated, but there's no additional cost to you. Their service is completely free to you. So if you want to learn more and get a free life insurance quote, I got the link to where you can do that in the description below. Fifth, we hopefully learned why you should not rely on the government. The government isn't very good with their money, and that became painfully apparent during this crisis. The government isn't a for-profit entity. They get their money when you work hard at your job and then you pay the government through taxes. So they don't have a lot of incentive, because whether they do a good job or bad job, you're gonna keep working hard to pay them no matter what. But what do I know? I mean, I'm just a random guy on YouTube, so let's take a look at some facts. When states started getting overwhelmed with unemployment requests, New Jersey put out an ad to hire somebody to help sort out these unemployment applications. No big deal. Well, it turns out this code that the government was using to manage their unemployment applications was 60 years old. People stopped using this code and language back in 1970 because it was too slow, but apparently it wasn't for the government. When small businesses started getting hurt because they were forced to lock down, the government created the Payroll Protection Program to save small businesses and keep employees employed. Well, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm an attorney, so I work with a lot of small businesses. And this program, well, fell on its face. Well, not only did the program not work when the government promised, but the funds dried up so fast that so many businesses that actually needed these loans to stay in business couldn't get the help they needed. You have public pension funds around the country on the verge of bankruptcy, and so this pension, this retirement income that so many people were promised and worked so hard for might not be there. What we've seen happen time and time again is that even though the government might have good intentions, government intervention usually ends up hurting those who it intends to help. This is why financial education is so important, because now your money and your wealth is in your hands and you don't gotta rely on somebody else, the government, your pension, your social security, or whatever to live your life. You get to decide how you live your life financially. Sixth, the media loves selling emotions. In 2019, the media said that this bull market couldn't be stopped and that the stock market couldn't come down. In March 2020, the media said that the world was gonna end and that the stock market might not ever go up again. Then in April, the media said that the economy was fixed and everything is good. Look, nobody can predict the future. These are all just guesses being sold as facts. Most media outlets are in the business of selling hype and emotion. That's how they get paid. They're not in the business of giving financial advice. So you, being the smart financial planner you are, you need to build a shield. That way you can filter out the emotion and make decisions based on financials. And to add to that, seventh, everyone has an opinion on how you should use your money. Hey, do you think I should buy this cardigan? Nah, it's not Gucci. Everybody has an opinion on how you should spend and invest your money, especially people on the internet. YouTube. This is one of the reasons why I always tell you to do your own research and don't just blindly listen to a random guy on YouTube. Everybody has different investment goals. Like one person might want to see returns in 3 months, somebody else 30 years, and somebody else, they might want passive income through dividends. That's why you need to have the right financial education. That way you can, 1, do your own research, 2, filter out the emotion, and 3, take care of your money without relying on somebody else like the government to take care of you. Every crisis comes with opportunity, but you can't capitalize on this opportunity unless you have the right financial education first. And if you're looking for an easy way to up your financial education, well, we have a free ebook on money management and investing that you can read for free when you sign up for our financial education emails, which are also free. By the way, these financial education emails are different from our financial news emails. So if you want to up your financial education and get a free ebook and emails, you can do that by clicking the link up here or by clicking the link in the description below. 8th, lack of time is not an excuse. Before this lockdown started, pretty much everybody I knew said that, man, if I just had more time, I'd finally be able to start a business or learn an instrument or learn about investing or finally get in shape. Well, when these lockdowns started and people were forced to stay home and people suddenly had more time than they could imagine, most of my friends did start getting in shape and learning about money and investing and starting their businesses. Just kidding. People use their extra time to scroll through social media. Oh, did Bunty gain weight? And Netflix. Lots and lots of Netflix with apparently some show called Tiger King. These lockdowns really showed us the power of your mindset, because if you don't have the right mindset, then nothing is possible, no matter what opportunities you have. And chances are, 6 months from now, people are going to be wishing for this opportunity to have all this free time again. 9th, anything is possible. The whole idea of the United States and the world going in lockdown seemed like a fairy tale in early 2020. But this goes to show that anything is possible, good or bad. If it's possible for our country and the entire economy to stop for 2 months, it is possible for you to follow your dreams and do whatever it is you want to do. I know that's probably a really bad analogy, but it just goes to show that anything is possible. And last but definitely not least, number 10, life is short, so be healthy. I know this isn't a financial tip per se, but if you're not healthy, nothing else matters. Like if you can't breathe, but you have $100 million in your bank account, then who cares? Please take care of your health. Eat clean, exercise, go on walks, and be healthy. You can't afford not to. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, share it with one friend, that way we can help spread the word. If you're wondering what you should buy during a recession to build wealth, we already made a video on it, and you can watch this video on YouTube by clicking this button right over here. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.